A few weeks ago, I made this soap dispenser for my bathroom from a jar that I bought on Amazon, and I've been wanting to make some matching jars so I could put my toothbrushes and my Q-tips and whatnot in them. And I like to upcycle glass jars when I can. So we eat a lot of pickles. I collect the jars throughout the year, and I also collect the wine bottles throughout the year. And then I just cut the tops off on my wet saw outside. Then I take my Dremel with some water and I just smooth out the edge so it's not rough. I'm using my forearm tumbler turner to make these 3 jars because I'll be using resin, and the cup turner really keeps things flowing and moving. I also like to use white pool noodles from the Dollar Tree, and I buy 10 at a time because I don't always find them, so I buy them when I can. Now, the first jar was fairly easy to attach with multiple pieces of pool noodle because it's about the same weight as a wine glass. The other two were cut from heavier rum bottles, so I really wanted to make sure they were going to stay put. Rubber shelf liner wrapped around the turner arm helps keep it from slipping. And then I just do a quick wipe with alcohol and a paper towel. And now it is time to mix up some resin. I'm using KS resin liquidy split, which is my absolute go-to resin for glasses. It's thick and it cures to the touch in about 4 hours. I poured a little bit into a separate cup and then added 2 drops of the KS Resin liquid resin dye in turquoise to the big cup, and then 1 drop of the Let's Resin Ocean White pigment to the small cup. Then you mix well. I spread a pretty thin layer of the turquoise mix on each jar, about 10 milliliters if I'm guessing. The reason I love this liquidy split so much is because it's thick and it stays put when you put it on the glass. Other resins that are made for casting or molding don't work as well because they're thinner and the resin just moves too much. And you'll often lose any kind of pattern that you're trying to make. And that's really, really frustrating. Liquidy split has a very short working time before it starts to set up. And it's cured to the touch in about 4 hours. And the pattern you make is often what you end up with at the end. And the white here is what is going to create our beautiful pattern. So I'm just adding it really pretty randomly. It does not need to be even. I do like to have it all the way around the jar, but it doesn't need to be an even straight line. And unfortunately, I had a little snafu when it came to the 3rd jar. The little pot of white resin that I had tipped over and I had to scrape it off my countertop with a popsicle stick. So here is where the magic happens. Grab your heat gun, put it on low heat and high air, and you are wanting to push that white into the blue. You're just kind of moving it around and creating those ripples and waves. The more white you have on the jar, the more waves you will get. Now, obviously, I don't have very much on this jar because I spilled half of it. But these two have more of the white on there. So I'm going to get some really, really cool patterns. Now, you do not want to leave your heat gun on one spot for too long. So you can see that I'm kind of pulsing on and off. You can actually see the resin rippling as I'm moving it. And so, this is heating up the resin, but it's also allowing, as the glass turns, it's allowing more of that natural wavy movement. So I will end up with some lacing and some cells. A lot of that is gonna kind of go away, but it's still really cool. And just use your heat gun until you're kind of happy with the way it looks, and then you just kind of have to let it go and just let it do its own thing. You got to go with the flow and flow with the go. And then I am going to let these spin overnight, and we'll come back and see what we got. I did have a little bit of resin to migrate onto the very bottom of these 2 jars, but it's not affecting at all the way that it sits level on the table. So I'm not going to worry about trying to scrape it off. I'm really, really loving the chunky bottom of these two. And then the first one that I made is absolutely perfect. That one is absolutely perfect. Even though it doesn't have as much of the white on this one, I really, really love it. And now it's time to put them in my bathroom. Let's go. And I'm gonna admit, I did have to clean my bathroom countertop before I shot this video because it was just a little bit too messy. But now I have a set of 4 jars that match perfectly, and I can keep my Q-tips in one, my toothbrushes in another, and then the spare toothbrush in another. And these are just gorgeous. I love them so much. Now I need to make another set for my guest bath to match the aqua soap dispenser that I made. So let me know what you think. And, always look for jars that you can recycle. I'm not saying I'm encouraging any hoarding, but, make use of what you have. Wine bottles are great. Pickle jars are great. And, you keep them out of a landfill. So let me know what you think.